The next Republican presidential primary is in the great state of Louisiana. This was an event in central Louisiana on Sunday. A pastor named the Reverend Dennis Terry introducing Republican presidential candidate Rick Santorum to his congregation. Watch.
I don't care what the liberals say. I don't care what the naysayers say. This nation was founded as a Christian nation. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. There's only one God. There's only one God, and his name is Jesus. I'm tired of people telling me that I can't say those words. I'm tired of people telling us as Christians that we can't voice our beliefs or we can't no longer pray in public. Listen to me. If you don't love America and you don't like the way we do things, I got one thing to say. Get out! We don't worship Buddha. I said we don't worship Buddha. We don't worship Muhammad. We don't worship Allah. We worship God. We worship God's Son, Jesus Christ. If we'll put God back in America, put God back in our pulpits, put God back in our homes and in our state house, and then in Washington, D.C., then we can have revival in America.
At the end of Reverend Dennis Terry's introduction, Republican presidential candidate Rick Santorum gave the pastor a standing ovation. Mr. Santorum later told reporters that he did not agree with the part of the sermon where the pastor told Muslims and Buddhists that they need to get out of America. Mr. Santorum said he was not clapping for that specific part of the sermon when he gave a standing ovation at the end. That Rick Santorum event was at the Greenwell Springs Baptist Church in the town of central Louisiana outside of Baton Rouge. If you hop on Route 61 and then on Route 425 from Central up toward Shreveport, you will hit Monroe, Louisiana, which is where my friend, the Reverend Dr. Welton Gaddy, is the pastor for preaching and worship at the Northminster Baptist Church. Reverend Gaddy is also the president of the Interfaith Alliance, which is a national organization dedicated to protecting religious freedom. Welton, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here, Rachel.
Does that non-Christians should get out of America rant sound as radical to you as a Baptist minister as it sounds to me?
Yes. It angers me and it hurts me. When I read the words, at first I laughed, and then I thought, I can't laugh at this. Rachel, in that introduction, that man gave me the feeling that he is the war on religion. Because what he was talking about was being anti-American and anti-religious. He did not conform to the Bible, and he didn't conform to the Constitution. That we are not a nation that kicks people out because of disagreement. I mean, that's what the art of politics in this nation has always been about. And I get so sick of these people talking about a war on religion. It embarrasses me. Look, they don't know what they're talking about. What's called a war on religion today, that was epitomized in his introduction. Nobody's told him he can't talk about God. Nobody's told him he can't talk about Jesus. And if his theology is one that the government can throw God out of the nation, that's a stronger theology than I've got. I don't know how you get rid of God anywhere, according to my belief in God. It is ludicrous. What's happened is that people who lived so long with an assumed establishment of religion, Judeo-Christian tradition, mainly Christian more than Judeo, are now having to play by the same rules that everybody else does, and they're saying that's persecution. And one day they're going to have to apologize to people in Afghanistan and Iraq and places like that who really know what it's like to be persecuted for their faith. These people are not persecuted.
What do you think that Republican politicians, conservative politicians, are selling at the political level when they talk about persecution, when they talk about a war on religion, when they tell Christians that Christians are victimized in America by virtue of being Christians?
Well, they're trying to scare them, for one thing, because they know that if you get people scared, they're going to say, what can we do to change this? And then they're going to say, follow us. Just do what we say, and we'll get it done for you. Newt Gingrich knows better. But you know what? and you may disagree with this, I appreciate the fact that Santorum has been honest. I think he's told us some of the scariest things that I've ever heard about religious freedom. It's made me probably more fearful than any presidential candidate ever has. But he's been honest with us. He's told us what he will do with that office. And I appreciate that. So we can either endorse that or not endorse it. But know this, if you go with this Republican path of a war on religion, taking back this country for God, all of those kinds of things, you're going to see religious freedom minimized, if not done away with altogether, and you're going to see a different America.
The Louisiana campaign is this Saturday. Mr. Santorum is favored. He does not seem to have much of a traditional campaign like he'd recognize in other states. He seems to mostly be counting on working through churches. He's counting on ministers telling their congregations to vote for him. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. It's a prostitution of the church. It's a manipulation of religion. People have to keep in mind, when you're running for the President of the United States, whether you're Rick Santorum or President Obama, you have one goal, and that's to win the election. And you just know that anything that's done in that campaign is a subsidiary strategy for getting you to the White House. These people aren't trying to build churches. They're not trying to encourage them towards social ministries. They're not trying to hold prayer meetings. They're trying to become the President of the United States. And the church has proven to be another institution into which they can go. And I resent anybody trying to make the altar of a church a stump from which they can give a political speech. If they want to go to church, they ought to go to church just like everybody else does, and worship and then get out and do their politics.
Welton Gaddy, the pastor for preaching and worship in the Northminster Baptist Church in Monroe, Louisiana, president of the Interfaith Alliance. Welton, I'm always happy to talk to you. I'm so glad you're here.
Same here.
Nice to
Same
see you,
here.
sir. Nice to see you.
Take care.